Hey there, setting the timer again, trying to get better about remembering to use that. I love this little cow timer, it's my daughter's. So today is day 28 of our free 10th 30 plus day get up and go challenge. Today we're going to talk about communication area and aspect of our life. It's the 9th category of our life. You can break your life down into any way you want. A lot of people don't break their life down at all. They just live it, and whatever happens, happens. But I like to be a little more purposeful in my life. And so over the decades, the last 4 decades for sure, I used a framework, I don't even know what, I guess I call it the life framework, that I learned from Tony Robbins, that he learned from Jim Rohn, that he learned from probably Napoleon Hill and all the other gurus of their time 40 years ago. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. And then this last April, I've shared that I added confidence and communication to my framework for this year for sure, probably going into next year. And I'll decide after next year if I want to continue to set goals and objectives for communication and for confidence, those areas and aspects of my life. Maybe I'll pick something else. Maybe I'll pick, I don't know what it would be, because I consider those foundational skills and abilities. So today we're going to talk about communication and our SOAP framework, the SOAP framework with respect to communication. Remember, SOAP stands for story or situation, options or possibilities, action, and I like to say analysis and action, because we got to decide what we're going to take action on. And when we're looking at a bunch of different options and possibilities, guess what? They're not comparing apples to apples, and we have to figure out how do we choose and how do we take action quickly when we decide we're going to act and we want to improve an area or aspect of our life, or a change or a challenge comes our way. And finally, the P stands for progress. So communication. The first thing we usually decide, our tool today is going to be gratitude. Now, being thankful, appreciating, whatever you call it, being grateful for the things that are working in your life, or grateful for the things that have worked out in the past. Because when we're grateful for the things that we've already accomplished, or for the things that we already have, that creates more of that in our life. If we're not grateful, if we resent the blessings in our life, guess what? We're not going to get any more of them. So thinking about gratitude and the SOAP framework with respect to our story and our current situation, what is our current situation with respect to communication? And we have to think communication can be all the different forms, right? Written, oral, auditory, the things we hear, the things we see, the things we say. And communication can take all different forms. We can use a picture to communicate, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words. We can use some other representations. We have to decide, what kind of communication are we talking about here? Are we talking about copywriting to get a message across to people? Are we talking about writing letters to get a message across to people? What is the current area of communication that you want to address? I like to think of a couple things when I'm thinking about communication. Number one, we can apply the journalistic framework to it, right? Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Who do I want to communicate with? What is my purpose for communicating? Why do I want to communicate with somebody? Is it to improve the relationship? Is it to reprimand somebody? What is the purpose and my intention behind my communication? Because that will help to determine what form my communication is going to take, and the message, and then how I deliver that message in terms of tone of voice, body language. It all matters when it comes to communication. So let's pick one area or aspect of communication that we might want to improve for ourselves because we don't think it's perfect yet. Let's say it is our, I didn't even pick one, so this makes it harder. I should have done that ahead of time. Let's say I need to listen better. Oh yeah, because that's a true one. So let's say my current state of listening is, a lot of times I have so much going on in my mind. I'm making excuses now already as I'm telling my story. So my current story is, I am busy. Everybody else on the planet's busy, by the way. So sometimes I don't listen. Sometimes I don't pay attention and give my full attention to the other person that's communicating with me. And I want to get better at that. I want to be present and give my attention to the person so they fully know that I am there and present when I'm communicating with them. So that's my desire. So right now, not a good listener, distracted, etc. Want to be an awesome communicator, want to be present, want to be listening, want to be attentive, want the person to know that they are the most important thing for me during that communication, and nothing else matters during that communication. So what are some options to make sure that that happens? If I'm thinking about gratitude, now I am grateful that, let's talk about gratitude with respect to this story. I am grateful that I am a much better listener now than I was when I was younger. I've as much as I beat myself up now for my listening skills, I'm a much better listener now than I was then. Does that mean I don't have room for improvement? Oh, heck no. I have a ton of room for improvement. So I'm grateful for the progress I've made so far, but I certainly want to continue to make that progress. So I'm going to be grateful for that I've improved my listening in some areas and aspects, but I also know that I need to improve it a lot more. So what are some options to improve my listening skills? What are some possibilities? Well, this is where I like to brainstorm and come up with a whole bunch. I could sign up for a coaching program on communication. Oh, I did that. I did that in April. Maybe that's part of why I'm getting better. I could get a personal one-on-one coach. I could do group coaching. I could get several books on communication, and I could read listening skills. I could practice listening. I could get an accountability partner, and I could practice listening. We could do role playing and practice listening. So I want to think of all the things I could do, and then that's the O in our SOAP framework. What are all the possible options? What are all the possible things I could do? And if I'm having a hard time coming up with those, I could use one of the tools that we've talked about earlier. I could use the imaginary friend exercise, which I'm grateful that I have an imaginary friend, and I could have other friends that I could always call on to have them help me brainstorm and come up with ideas of how I could become a better listener. Then our A for our SOAP framework is about, I like to say action, but analyzing and making a decision among the alternatives to know what to take action on, so I can take action immediately. When I'm going through the SOAP framework and I'm faced with a change or a challenge, I am looking for the solution to the problem. I am solution focused. So I want to fill that gap from where I am to where I want to be, the current situation to the desired situation. I want to start making progress on that immediately. I don't have to make giant steps, but I want to start making teeny tiny steps immediately, because if I take a step and an action toward what I want immediately, that begins the process of momentum. As soon as we take that first step, other steps start to appear, and we automatically know what to do next and next and next. But we have got to step up and take that first step, or nothing happens. So I want a quick way to decide among alternatives. I will admit that my favorite decision-making tool is still the plus or minus, where you take a piece of paper, fold it in half, plus on one side, minus on the other. You think about the thing you want to do, plus, minus, plus, minus. What are the benefits of doing it? What are the drawbacks of doing it? And then if the benefits outweigh the drawbacks, I take action toward that immediately. And I can do that in my head now. I've done that so many times in my life, literally hundreds of thousands of times, that it just happens automatically, just like we're doing with the SOAP framework. We're installing it in our subconscious so it will happen automatically. Progress, how do I know if I'm becoming a better listener? Well, I listen for feedback. I pay attention to how much I'm paying attention and how present I am during my communications. And not just some of them, all of them. I'd say especially with my family and the people that are closest to me, because those are the people I tend to only half listen to, because they're the ones that are closest to me, and I feel like I can get away with it, which is just the opposite of what it should be, because I'm grateful that they're in my life and I love them the most. So why would I treat them with less respect by not listening and being present than I would strangers? So our action item today is to share one thing that you're grateful for today. And I'd say if you can come up with one thing that you're grateful for with respect to communication, that would be most appropriate. Just one thing you're grateful for today, because gratitude is one of the most powerful tools that any of us can have in any of our toolboxes, for the reasons I mentioned earlier. If you're grateful for what has already happened to you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it all forms who we are today and allows us to continuously improve, then more of what you want will come your way. Questions? Hit me up. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow, and I haven't decided what we're doing tomorrow, so I will let you know tomorrow. We'll probably, maybe, I'm not sure yet. I'll have to decide. But, sorry, time's up. No, asking for questions on the whole SOAP framework and how you apply it, and if you have specific questions on applying it to different areas or aspects, or if there's an area or aspect of your life that you want help in applying it to, or a little coaching on that, hit me up in direct messages, and we will work on that, and we'll we'll see if that's something that other people can learn from too, because if you're struggling with it or have a question on it, chances are other people do as well. So I am grateful for you. Have an awesome day, and I will be with you tomorrow.